Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to cover something that is going to cross everyone's mind when they're getting diagnosed with MS, and that is, what is it like to have an MRI scan? I recently had my 12-monthly MRI scan, so I've come fresh out of it, and so I just thought I'd make a video on it just to describe to some of you guys that might not have ever had an MRI scan before, what it's like, what to expect, and put some of your questions and uneases at bay. So let's get straight into the video, and before we do, please do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel because it really helps me to reach more people like you, and so that we can really build a community here and all help each other with our journey through MS. So if you could do that for me, I'd really appreciate it, but let's get straight into the video.
'Cause I've been thinking about what I wanna do. 'Cause I never ever thought it through. Now I ask myself why didn't I?
So when I got diagnosed with MS, it was the first time that I've ever been in an MRI scanner before. Obviously, I knew exactly what they looked like. Everyone has that image of this big, massive tunnel that you get sat down on a slidey bed and it slides in and you're all claustrophobic and you're surrounded. That was kind of the imagery that I had in my head. And so I wasn't particularly looking forward to it, but at the same time, I wasn't exactly really scared, but I know that some people do get really claustrophobic and don't like tight spaces, so they would be sort of really scared of this kind of thing. And so this is really just to tell you about what my experience is like, just to pre-warn you what it's like so that nothing kind of catches you by surprise if you're going to go for an MRI anytime soon. So first of all, one of the main things about being an MRI scanner is definitely the noise. The noise of an MRI scanner is something that is almost impossible to describe, but it's kind of like if you're old enough to remember how the old dial-up sound used to sound when you were connecting to the internet. It's kind of like that, but imagine that, but more mechanical and more clunky. There's all sorts of banging going on, weird high-pitched noises, and so that's why, fortunately, you almost every time get given earplugs to put in your ears so that you can't hear that kind of noise as much, even though it's pretty loud still. It really does kind of, take you back when you first get in. And then sort of as time goes by in there, you just sort of get used to it and you kind of drown it out in your own head as you lay there just thinking, just waiting for it to be over. But that noise is definitely something that is very unique and it can be scary to some people. I found it I didn't mind it really. It was neither here nor there. Being a musician myself, I was kind of always making little tunes to myself to the beat of the weird noises, the clunking, the bashing and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's definitely something that you need to be aware of if you've not had an MRI before, because it can take you by surprise. And it's a very unusual sound throughout the whole time you're being scanned, essentially. So the next thing then, you have to, or you're told to when you go in the scanner, that you have to keep really still. This for me was the most difficult part of it, because when you're told to keep still, it's really hard to keep still. So you really all of a sudden want to scratch your nose, you want to move about, you feel all of a sudden like your leg's going dead and you're going to have to move. And it's not the most comfortable position anyway, because you're kind of squished in and you've got your head kind of fixed in place, especially for us having our brains and our spines scanned. So you're kind of a bit crammed in. And so that for me was probably the most difficult part, was just staying still, not scratching myself, not moving, because as well, you don't want it to mess up the scan and have to start again or get the scan rearranged or whatever. So in your head, you really want to make sure that you stay still. And so for me, that was probably one of the hardest parts. But maybe, I know a lot of people can just really relax and some people fall asleep almost in there, but I'm not that kind of person that would fall asleep. So I was constantly just thinking of trying to stay still, trying to stay as straight as I can. Definitely the most difficult part for me about the MRI is just trying to keep as still as possible. Another thing about being an MRI is the length of time you can be in there. It completely depends on what body parts you're getting scanned. So for me, I've had both scans of just my brain and then also a scan of my brain and my spine. If you're going for the brain and the spine, that really does take a long time. I remember one scan that I had, and I don't know how long I was in there, but I worked it out that I felt like, or from my workings out anyway, I must have been in there for about an hour, even though I was only told it was going to be half an hour. So I don't know why that was, if they'd made a mistake, or maybe I'd moved and disrupted one of the imaging sequences or whatever it might be. But that felt like an age, and especially one of the next points that I'm going to come up to as well. It was really difficult for that length of time, but if you're only getting your head scanned, then it can be quite quick. So the last one I had done was just of my head, and that felt like it was over straight away, to be honest. I felt like I was literally in and out really in about 5 minutes, even though it was probably in about 10 to 15 minutes, but it goes pretty quickly. So that's something to be aware of, that it can take a long time, depending on kind of how many areas of your body you're having scanned and what obviously the scans are for as well. The next point then that I alluded to in the last segment was that you can sometimes in there, because you're getting scanned and there's all these microwaves and there's radiation that's scanning you essentially the whole time, it can get really hot in there. And there was one time in particular, the one that I mentioned before, where I was in there for, it felt like about an hour. It felt more like 3 or 4 hours, but I was getting really, really hot in there. I don't know if I was just particularly hot myself that day or having a bit of a hot flush, but it was getting really, really hot, and I just felt like I just wanted to get out of there straight away and just quickly get in a cold shower or something, because I was just boiling up, and obviously that makes it more uncomfortable. You feel like you're sweating and you want to kind of scratch your face and stuff, and you want to move. So that's definitely something to be careful of. I don't know if other people suffer with this as well and get hot on an MRI, so do let me know in the comments if this has happened to you, because I wasn't really sure if it just happened to me or if it happens to a lot of people. So do let me know in the comments if that's ever happened to you before as well. On that note, I would definitely recommend that you dress comfortably. Don't be thinking about what you look like or anything like that on the day of the MRI, because you're essentially just going into hospital and you're going to go into a tunnel and get scanned. So just make sure you're wearing the most comfortable clothes possible. Make sure that there's nothing metallic on it, metal zips or don't know what else there might be that's metallic, but you can't have metal in there because it can distort the images and things like that. I just go in just like joggers and a comfy t-shirt, because that's what's most comfortable for me. So I definitely advise making sure you wear the most comfortable clothes for you. So last and not least, but probably the most obvious, is that if you do suffer with claustrophobia, then you are gonna probably suffer in this a little bit, because it is very claustrophobic. You are essentially lay flat on your back, and then you're pushed into, say, a tunnel that kind of engulfs all the way around your head like this, and you've got to just keep still. Now, it's not as scary as it might seem. A lot of the times they put kind of a little mirror in front of your face so that you can see outside. So that obviously really helps, because you can kind of see all the hospital staff. You can see them walking around, and you can see them in their booth behind. So it kind of gives you an idea that you're not just being chucked into this tunnel and that there's no way out. So that can really help. And obviously it's all sort of white colours as well, so it's not like it's pitch black or anything, so it's not really that scary. But if you are claustrophobic, then I would kind of just get prepared and, you know, watch this video, make sure you're ready and you're prepared to, you know what to expect essentially. And obviously, please do leave your comments down below of other people that have had experience in MRI scanners, because that will obviously help other people that are checking out this video, because I want to hear from other people's experience, and so that other people can, you know, learn from your thoughts as well. So please do leave your comments below, as it will really help those who are claustrophobic. So there you have it. There's my summary of what it's like to go in an MRI scanner. As I've said throughout the video, if you have had an MRI before, please do leave your comments below of what your experience has been, anything that stood out for you, as that would be really helpful for other people who are checking out this video and want to find out more about an MRI scan before they have it done. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching the video. I hope this has helped if you are going to go through an MRI soon. And just don't worry, don't stress about it. It's only 20 or 30 minutes, and it's a necessary evil to get done so that you can get diagnosed and you can move on with your life and make the changes you need to accept that decision. Thanks again for watching the video. If you have enjoyed it, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos about my journey with MS, so that we can reach more people and help more people, so that we can all combat this disease together.
'Cause I've been thinking